There's a lot going on when the hands enter the water in butterfly, and if swimmers don't get it right, it can be very difficult to swim fast and sustainable fly. On the other hand, if swimmers can do the right thing at the right time, it's going to unlock speed and endurance that's going to help them swim much faster in races. It's all about organizing several key skills at the same time so that swimmers can create speed. Hi everyone, Andrew here, helping you help your swimmers get faster. We're going to discuss why entry timing is so critical in butterfly. We're going to discuss what it is. We're going to take a look at what it is. We're going to go over why it's difficult to improve. We're going to go over how to improve it. And then I'll show you some sets that you can use to help implement these concepts. Entry timing is so important because it's the key aspect of butterfly timing. It syncs up the whole stroke and it makes everything else so much easier. When the entry timing is effective, the arms are going to be in the right position, the legs are going to be in the right position, the hips are going to be in the right position, and that means swimmers are going to be able to create more propulsion and they're going to create less resistance. And if they don't get that right, everything's going to be out of position and it's very, very difficult to get back into position throughout the remainder of the stroke. That means more resistance, less propulsion, a whole lot less speed for a whole lot more effort. And entry timing all centers around the role of the hips, and the hips need to come back up for an effective fly. When swimmers breathe, when they recover the arms, the hips are necessarily going to drop a little bit. The body is going to be at an angle, and so the hips need to come back up so the body can be level, and that means there's going to be less resistance because swimmers are going to be swimming straight through the water. And if the hips are high and the chest is low, if swimmers reverse that, it allows them to get a lot more leverage on the water, create a lot more propulsion with the upper body. So if swimmers can get the hips up more effectively, they're going to have more speed for less effort, and that's going to mean better endurance, and that's going to mean faster swimming. So what is great entry timing? Ultimately, it's quite simple. There are three things that need to happen all at the same time. The arms need to come around and enter forward. That's why we're talking about entry timing. That's going to be a key aspect of it. The chest needs to drop down, and then there needs to be a strong kick. And all those actions serve to pop the hips up. When the chest goes down, just like a teeter-totter, the hips go up. When the legs kick, that pushes the hips up from behind, and then when the arms enter, that's going to get more body mass out in front, and the arms are swinging with a lot of momentum, which is going to further carry everything forwards, and that's going to get those hips to pop up too. And so if you get a strong chest press and a strong kick, and the arms are swung forward aggressively all at the same time, all of a sudden those hips are going to pop right up, and they're going to pop up faster, they're going to pop up easier, and they're going to pop up better. And by better, I mean a more effective position. So that means swimmers can get into better positions, they can get into better positions faster, and they can get into better positions with less effort. And that all means really great speed. And so if swimmers were to execute all of those three skills, arms forward, chest down, strong kick, at different times, it's not going to be the same synergistic effect, and they're not going to get the hips up as fast, as easy, and as well. So if swimmers can execute great entry timing well, they're going to be able to get into better positions, and they're going to swim faster. So we'll take a look at two different swimmers here, one swimming over 100 meters and one swimming over 200 meters. So we watch here, so the hands are going to enter right there, the chest presses, and then the legs are kicking, and everything clicks right there. So when you get the full chest press, you get the finish of the kick, and the arms are all the way out in front, everything just pops up. So instead of telling swimmers to get their hips up, you can just focus on the entry timing and do the skills that allow the hips to come up. Trying to move the hips isn't going to be effective. Executing what needs to happen that gets the hips up is going to work a lot better. So again, those arms are going to crash down, the chest is crashing down, everything's moving forward as the kick goes, and then boom, those hips come right up into line, right up into position. And so it's a really simple skill that just needs to be done at the right time. Boom, right there, kick, entry, press, and those hips are right in a position. And then the chest is down a little bit, the hips are up, and then boom, he can leverage right out of that and really rock the pole. So simple skill that just needs to be done at the right time. It's not complicated. It's something anyone can learn. It just needs to be done well, and it just needs to be timed well. So different swimmer here, what we'll see is the chest drops, the arms enter, and then boom, that kick pops those hips right up into line. So this athlete's got a little bit more of a chest press. The hips are getting up a little bit higher. There's more range of motion, but it's the same principles. So again, arms come around, boom, enter, chest press, kick, everything pops up right into alignment. So simple skill, just needs to be executed with precision, and it needs to be executed well, and those hips are going to come right up. Swimmers aren't going to have to focus on making it happen. One more example here. see the kick there, and then the enter and the chest press all happen at the same time. So right, kicking, entering, chest press, boom, she gets her hips right up on the surface. So right there, all happening together, that gets her in a great position. Hips are up, it allows her to maintain a great alignment, and it allows her to get ready to come up and out of that pole to create a lot of propulsion. Simple skill, just needs to be executed with precision. And if swimmers can do that, butterfly becomes a whole lot easier and a whole lot faster. So what's the challenge? Why isn't each and every swimmer making this happen? Well, butterfly happens fast. It can't be performed slowly, and that makes it a lot more difficult for swimmers to practice and learn that skill. It's also a skill that needs to be precise, and it's really subtle, and that can be really difficult for swimmers to figure out, to pick up on when they have to do things fast and they have to do things with a lot of effort. In swimming butterfly, you can't just swing the arms nice and leisurely and try to feel it out and try to figure out how to get those hands in position at the right time with the chest press and the kick. And that makes it a lot more difficult for swimmers to feel out that nuance, to figure out that precision, and to execute that subtle skill. The arms are also swinging forward ballistically. And so while you can recover the arms in freestyle nice and leisurely, and you can change the timing if you have to, once those arms are swinging in butterfly, there's not a whole lot swimmers can do. By that point, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And so it's difficult for swimmers to figure out what they need to do earlier in the stroke in order to make the entry itself happen effectively, especially when they have to do it at speed and they can't stop, slow down, control, and try to figure things out and try to feel things out. It's also a matter of coordination. They've got to do 3 different things all at the same time, and that can be difficult for swimmers to think about. It's like juggling 3 different balls. If they focus on one, they lose track of another. And so, again, that's made more difficult by butterfly itself because it can't be performed particularly slowly. And with the ballistic nature of the arm recovery, it's hard to figure out all 3 skills at the same time when swimmers have to do it. In most cases, they have to figure out under pressure, and they have to figure it out when they're swimming relatively tired, because butterfly can be challenging, and especially if they don't have good entry timing, butterfly will be really challenging. So a lot of things that need to be overcome in order to help swimmers learn this critical skill. For solutions, we have to overcome the challenges we just discussed. We have to find a way to slow butterfly down without ruining the timing of the stroke. We also have to find a way to help swimmers navigate those ballistic recoveries in a way that they can manage, and we have to find a way to help swimmers learn to coordinate these 3 separate actions. Or we need to find strategies that almost force swimmers to coordinate those actions effectively, so that way they can figure out what it feels like and how to do it. So especially relative to the other strokes, which can be performed across a range of speeds and a range of stroke rates, butterfly is a lot more restricted in that respect. And if we can solve that challenge, we can work around that, we're much more likely to help swimmers figure out how to execute great entry time. The first strategy is called skate drill, and it's effective because it's a good introduction to the skill. It's really isolated. The rhythm of the stroke really isn't there, but the arm recoveries aren't there. That makes it a lot easier to help swimmers learn how to time the chest press, the forward reach of the arms, and that kick. They can go slow, they can control it, they can get a lot of repetitions in without getting tired, and they can do so in a way that's conducive to learning, especially if they have no idea how to make it happen. Here's a way to help them figure out what it feels like. And because things are happening under less pressure, swimmers can experiment, they can feel it out, they can learn what works and what doesn't. More importantly, they can start to feel the pop of the hips when everything really works, when everything really clicks. And once they can feel it in this isolated context, it's more likely that they'll be able to feel it when actually swimming butterfly, because if they can't feel it in isolation, they're not just going to magically discover it when they're swimming fly. So what the swimmer is doing here is they're going to focus on having the arms out in front. At the same time, they're going to reach forward, they're going to press, they're going to drive that kick, and that's going to pop those hips up right there, and then they're going to pull. So that's the key aspect of it, is the hands are in front, there's the press of the chest, there's the kick, and then there's the pull all at the same time. And so while they're not actually recovering the arms and entering the arms, they're still going to reach forward, press the chest, and then pop the kick in order to make that happen. So it's a simple way to help swimmers feel how those 3 actions get the hips up right there in the front of the stroke, and then that allows them to feel that, and once they can feel it, they can start to execute it in regular butterfly. Next up is one-arm butterfly, and so the advantage here, especially relative to skate drill, is that it allows for the continuous rhythm of butterfly. Swimmers can get 2 kicks in, the arms are recovering over the water, it's a continuous motion, but now it can be slowed down because swimmers don't have to recover the arms ballistically, they can do so patiently, and it can still be performed correctly because the accurate and the true rhythm is still there. So What's really valuable is it can be performed across a range of speeds. So you can do it really slow to help swimmers figure out the timing, and you can also do it fast and challenge their timing as well. It's a lot less physically demanding because only one arm is going over the surface at a time, and so it doesn't require a lot of strength. So if swimmers are lacking that to some extent, they can still learn the key skills and the key timing, and they can get a lot more practice because it's not going to be as physically exhausting. As I mentioned earlier, it's a perfect transition from skate drill to full stroke butterfly because swimmers can now work on that same timing, but they've added the arm recovery over the water, and each stroke cycle is going to flow into the next, just like with regular butterfly. So if we watch here, what we'll see is with each stroke, he's going to enter the water, the hips come up, chest goes down. You can see the legs are down because he's just completed that kick. And so he can practice that skill at slower speeds with a lot more patience. He doesn't have to worry about the arms recovering over the water. He can do 50s, he can do 100s, he can do whatever and get a lot of practice rather than just having to force it and try to figure it out. So he's keeping his tempo up a little bit here. It can be a lot slower, it can be a lot patient, and it can certainly be faster than that too. And that helps swimmers learn to execute this skill in a lot of different contexts. It's a great transition, a great setup for full stroke butterfly. Another strategy for swimmers that are a little bit more advanced, that are still struggling with this skill, or if you really want to make this skill bulletproof, you can use head up butterfly. So what happens, head goes up, hips go down, and so that forces swimmers to be really strong with their kick when they enter, because if they're not, those hips aren't going to come up at all, and they're going to be in big trouble. And so they have to kick hard, they have to kick at the right time to get the hips up just a little bit, nowhere near what they would in regular butterfly, but they're going to have to kick harder and at the right time in order to make that happen. So we're really overloading that first kick here because the swimmers are sloppy with it. They won't go anywhere with head up butterfly, and it'll be a real challenge. They won't create speed, and they're going to get exhausted. And when they put the head back down, they're going to feel the hips come up really well each time because with the head up fly, they're not going to be coming up much at all. And so they're going to be able to feel that difference between when their head's up and the head's down. They're going to feel a difference in where the hip position is. And when they can feel those differences, now they have more awareness. The more awareness they have, the more change they can create. So if swimmers can swim butterfly pretty well and they've got some solid strength, this can be a great tool to make that skill even better because, again, it forces them to exaggerate that kick and the timing of the kick. And further, when the head goes back down, they're going to be more aware. They're going to be able to feel the hips moving. And the more they can feel it, the more they can influence it. So if you watch here, head's going to be up, body position is going to be down, but you can still see those hips pop up a little bit in the front of the stroke. And that's going to be driven by a really, really strong kick because nothing's going to happen if he doesn't kick strong, he doesn't kick at the right time. Then once the head goes back down and he's swimming regular, those hips are going to come up right where we want them, and they're going to come up a whole lot easier because he's using that really strong kick and he's executing it at the right time. So of course, the kick is a huge aspect of entry timing, and by modifying the feet, we can help swimmers feel the kick differently, and if we can help them feel it differently, we can help them improve the skill. And so the kick timing is a challenge for many swimmers, and they just can't feel it because there's not a whole lot of surface area with the feet, and lesser skilled swimmers aren't particularly effective at using the feet, and so they're not going to get a lot of pressure. They don't have much pressure on the feet. It's going to be difficult for them to become aware of what the feet are doing. So we got two strategies here. First is fins, and that bigger surface area can help swimmers really feel the pressure on the foot, can feel the impact of the kick, and they're much more likely to get a bigger hip pop when they do kick because they're going to be moving a whole lot more water. The more water they push down, the more the hips are going to go up. And then that means it's more likely they're actually going to feel it when the timing clicks because those hips are going to come right up and they're going to feel that surge, that sense of speed when they get back into alignment, and they're going to feel the power of the pull when they come out of that. Drag socks, same concept, but they work a little bit differently. They're going to help swimmers feel more pressure on the feet. They're going to be more aware of what their kick is doing and when it's happening, and that awareness makes it more likely that they're going to be able to tell how to execute the kick when it matters. Just as importantly, like with head up fly, they're going to have to work harder to kick. And so the harder they work, the more it's going to put the skill under pressure. And when they take the drag socks off, it's going to be a whole lot easier for them to make that happen. And they're going to have the fitness to sustain that skill for that much longer. And so it's a really great way to help them feel what their kick's doing. And once they can feel it, they can change it. Another effective strategy is using resistance. And again, it's all about creating awareness. When they wear the belt, they're going to be more aware of the hips because there's going to be all that extra mass moving all over the place, and they're going to feel that, and they're going to feel the difficulty of moving that as well. And just like with the head up butterfly, you take the weight belt off, now they're going to be able to feel those hips slide right into place, and they're going to have more strength, more control over what they're doing as well. With the parachute, it's the same concept, just a little bit different mechanism. That chute's going to pull those hips down as well. And so swimmers are going to have to work harder, kick more effectively, get the timing better in order to get the hips back up and back into alignment. Again, when the parachute comes off, they're going to feel those hips pop right up into place. And so both these strategies help swimmers feel whether the hips move and whether they move at the right time and in the right way. They have to work harder to make it happen. And at the same time, they also have to be more precise to make it happen. And so this might not be the first strategy you use when introducing the skill and the concept, but once you want to challenge that skill, challenge that concept a little bit, resistance tools are extremely effective. With all skills, I like to challenge performance. And so you can change the speed, you can change the stroke rate. You can have them go as slow as possible with speed and rate. You can have them go as fast as possible with speed and rate. Especially with the drills, when you have them go slow, it's going to force them to really get it right, because if they don't, they're going to have a real hard time maintaining control, maintaining their alignment, maintaining forward speed. And when they have to do it at high speeds, they're going to have a lot less time. They're going to have to be really good, really precise in how they execute in order to do everything right in a lot less time. And of course, you can do the whole range in between, and you can bounce back and forth within that range. And so if swimmers can execute these skills when they're going really slow and when they're going really fast, they're going to be able to execute those skills pretty much at any time. So rather than just having swimmers perform the drills at whatever speed is comfortable for them, push them out of their comfort zone, force them to change, force them to learn, and that's going to help their progress. So first set is simple enough. They're going to go 2 rounds through this. They're going to go 825 skate drill. They're going to alternate 2 with fins, 2 with drag socks, and then they're going to go 4 rounds of a 50 one-arm butterfly, descend 1 to 4, and a 50 butterfly solid. So with the skate drill, it's an introduction to this skill, and they're going to use fins and they're going to use drag socks in order to create more awareness of what the feet are doing. The fins are going to help them pop the hips up, and the drag socks are going to make it more difficult for that to happen. So they're going to alternate between the two. They get a change in sensation, and that extra variation is going to help them learn. Then they're going to transition into some one-arm butterflies, so now they've got the full stroke rhythm, and they're going to try to add speed as they go. They've got to try to execute with that same timing, and they've got to make that happen faster and faster in order to go faster. And then they've got 25 butterfly. It's just a test. Can they make it happen with regular butterfly? They're not looking to be perfect. They're looking to be a little bit better. In each round, each section, each time they repeat those 25 flies, they want to see if they can get better. 2 rounds through the whole thing, give them an opportunity to figure out both pieces 2 times. This set is a little bit longer. They're going to go 2 or 3 rounds through, depending on how much work you want to do. We're going to go 225s head up butterfly with fins, solid effort. So the fins are going to make it more obvious what the kick's doing. It's also going to make it a little bit easier to swim head up butterfly. So swimmers are going to have to be effective with the kick, hit the timing, hit it really well to make sure that those hips come up. Those are going to be solid effort. And then they're going to go right into a 200 as 25 one-arm butterfly smooth. So really just feel it out, really great timing, and right into a 25 butterfly strong where they try to execute that same timing. Then they're going to repeat those 225s, and they're going to repeat a 150 instead of a 200, done the same way, but the one-arm butterfly should be solid effort now, and the 25 butterfly should be strong. Repeat the 225s again, and then we're going to go 100. The one-arm butterfly is strong, and the 25 butterfly is strong. They're going to have to be really strong with those kicks on the head-up butterfly. Then they're going to try to make it happen during those longer swims. They're going to set it up with the one arm. They have a chance to recover a little bit physically, but just as importantly, to set things up technically and then try to make it happen during the 25s butterfly. Last set, more of a speed set. They're going to go 4 rounds through this. They're going to start off with 5 cycles of head-up butterfly fast, and then a 25 one-arm butterfly, minimize stroke count on time. They'll do that twice for 4 total repetitions. Then they're going to go 25 butterfly, minimize stroke count on time, and a 25 butterfly fast. So the head-up butterfly, again, just like with the previous set, put the legs under more pressure. They're going to have to kick well and kick at the same time in order to get everything up and aligned. Then the 25 one-arm butterfly, it's a little bit less pressure because they don't have both arms recovering, but they have to create speed and length at the same time. Then they're going to do the same thing with butterfly. Again, minimize stroke count and time, and then a 25 butterfly fast. So with the head-up fly, the one-arm fly, and the first 25 butterfly, they're going to be using different resistance each round. Round 1's with a weight belt, round 2's with drag socks, round 3's with parachute, round 4's with no equipment. And that last 25 butterfly fast is always without equipment. The idea here, the weight belt, we're going to challenge them to get the hips up. The drag socks, they have to be really effective with the kicking. The parachute, they've got to be really good with getting the hips up. Then they get the chance to put it all together again. So we're challenging the skills in a lot of different ways. We're doing it in a training context so that they can develop fitness and skill at the same time, and that's going to lead to better outcomes. They're going to develop the skill. They're going to do it in a way that actually shows up in races, and they're going to have the fitness to hold it all together. If you want to learn more about butterfly timing, check out the video below.